Good morning, everybody. It's Big T on the AT 26, day 21. And I camped close to Lemon Gap. I should be at Lemon Gap here shortly. And I'm headed to Hot Springs, North Carolina. I'll get to eat again tonight. Well, actually, probably for lunch. Got about 14.7 miles after that 20-mile day yesterday. It cut my distance down, so that's good. And I heard turkeys yesterday evening fly up and roost somewhere over here. I was kind of hoping to hear one gobble. It's early March, so it should be gobbling some. I'll give you more later. Well, this is interesting. I'm at Lemon Gap and somebody's left a fire going here. That's not real smart. I guess this is a trash bag here too. Yep, bunch of cans. I saw those two boys. I wonder if it was them. Do you believe they left this fire going here? Huh. Surprised I didn't hear them as close as I was to hear. The Forest Service up at the top of this next climb is doing a prescribed burn the last 2 days. I could see the smoke from Max Patch. And it's literally 2 tents from the trail, or 2 tents south. So I may walk through some burn area. I came up that hill and I started smelling smoke, and I thought, well, I can smell the smoke from the prescribed burn, but it's not that. It was that fire going. It's hard to believe they left that fire. I have no way of putting it out. Hope the Forest Service comes by soon. The ground's pretty damp, but still, you're not supposed to do that. That's also the spot where in 23, the only time I was able to get fresh ground was right there. I imagine I'm too far out in front to ever see fresh ground again. He stays just in front of the bubble usually, so he can feed a lot of people, but not a terrible lot too many. I camped near back there, just 2 tents before you get to Lemon Gap. And I hiked along yesterday afternoon with a young fellow named Elf, 22 years old. Somebody came by this morning shortly after 5. I was packing up. I was still in my tent. I have a good guess it's Jetpack. He's close to my age. And then figured he started early. But I don't know, that was pretty early to come by. But I saw this light. Another beautiful sunrise coming my way. Just a matter of a few minutes. Oh yeah, it's gonna be beautiful this morning. I gotta get up higher so I can see it. Oh. This is top of the first climb out of Lemon Gap, and it's the site of Walnut Mountain Shelter. This is where it was, somewhere in here. There's a pipe spring up here, and there's a lot of tent sites. The sun is steady coming up, and I'm not getting a good view of it, but this is where I started to come to, but I was worried about the prescribed burn. And I see no evidence of anything like that right now. I guess that was not a real concern of mine that I should not have had. I should have just kept coming, but I had had enough. It hit 19.8 yesterday and over 6,000 ascent. Pretty morning again. Stayed in my tent last night. Had a little moisture. I checked it during the middle of the night, and I could tell my bag was getting a little moisture on it, and the walls of the tent were starting to develop with the moisture. So I opened one of the flies, one of the vestibules, and it just kind of stopped it at that point, I think, and didn't let it get any worse. But it didn't ever dry out. There wasn't enough wind to dry out. So that is the only negative I have. Well, there's two negatives I have about that tent. One is that it's big and the footprint's huge for one person, and I'm constantly trying to find the right spot when I come to a campsite. But the other is it doesn't vent well, and I don't know if it's just me. You know, you'd think I'd have it figured out after as many miles as I've put on it, but I've camped in it. There's no telling how many times on the PCT, and that 1,000 miles, that was, you know, there's no shelter, so you're staying in your tent all the time. There comes the sun. You know, when it's cold, you don't want to leave that vestibule open, because air blowing through there makes it really cold. So it's supposed to vent well, but according to Dan Durston, but I have yet to figure out how to get the right set. And you know, you don't position the doors based on the wind. You position the doors based on your slope, because you don't want to be sliding across the hill. If anything, you want to keep your head up. You know, you want your head on the high side. And I have very few times camped on a perfectly flat spot. So I know it would help if you could figure the wind direction out and do your vestibules one door toward the wind, so the air would circulate under those vestibules and through the tent. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sleep crossways on the slope on the hill. You're on these pads and these slick pads and the slick floor of the tent, you're sliding all night long. This is Bluff Mountain, 264.5 on the AT. Been climbing pretty much all morning, a little bit of down, but mostly up. I know it's a long down in the hot springs, which is nice. Looks like I may get some views. It's kind of hazy today. Them two boys last night were Appalachian boys, for sure. They were carrying a bow, a compound bow, and he was carrying a handful of arrows, no quiver, just a handful of arrows. And I checked his arrows out, and they all had field tips on them. And he said, "I know these woods like the back of my hand." He looked like they were tall and lanky. He had a knife and a scabbard on the back of his pants. I said, "What y'all hunting?" He said, "Oh, anything, squirrel, rabbit, whatever." And of course, the dog got loose from him. I don't know if you caught that in the video, but the dog was just running wild, and they were hollering and carrying on. It was quite an experience. And I didn't realize it, but I guess they stayed right there at Lemon Gap. I don't know that was them, but just assuming it. Really wasn't happy with that bag of trash hanging on the tree either, and the fire still going. But, you know, they had long hair, had cowboy hats on, wearing cowboy boots and blue jeans, and hunting. And I have a feeling the dogs what spooked the turkeys up before I ever saw them the first time. And, so that's probably why they didn't make a peep this morning too. They still spooked from the night before, possibly. Well, you know, I camped a lot as a teenager, a lot. Even in college, we camped a lot. Had a good time, and wonder sometimes if my etiquette was not the best. Probably not. So I'm not gonna criticize them a great deal, other than they did make me a little nervous when he walked off with that bow and said he knew the woods like the back of his hand. You might be in for trouble tonight, I don't know. And it was already getting dark. But I never heard from him again, saw him again or anything. They didn't make much noise because I was close enough to him I would have heard him. I did a lot of crazy things. I shouldn't even be telling you about them, because kind of like you point the finger at somebody, you got 4 more pointing back at you. And I certainly have that. Bluff Mountain up there is at 4680 elevation. And when I came over the top, I could see hot springs. You could see it, but it's just barely could see it through the trees and the haze. I could see buildings and what have you. Hot Springs is 1404 elevation. So you have to drop that elevation to get down into Hot Springs. So the trail takes 10 miles from Bluff Mountain to get to Hot Springs, but you can see it. So you're working your way back and forth across the mountain, getting your way down. So I guess it does have some switchbacks. These are not really switchbacks, but they are anyway. They're long switchbacks. You go around the mountain and then turn and come back around the mountain as you drop in elevation. It's a long way down there, 10 miles of trail down there. And as soon as I get back around on the other side of the mountain, I'll probably see if I get a view where I can take a picture of it. Big Rock Spring here is that way. I'm trying to hold off on getting water. You reckon Moses was here at one time and he struck the rock and water came out? I don't know if Moses was on this continent or not. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. There's some caves. I don't know if they go very far back under there. I ain't crawling up under there and finding out. Little rock cave. It may go way back in there. I don't know. I know I ain't gonna find out. I want to just mention my good buddy Brian Henley. Brian is a physical therapist in my hometown who I've known for a very long time. And he is a good guy. I have spent many hours with him rehabilitating me from injuries, from anything from just a pulled muscle all the way to where I had a broken back and paralyzed legs. The boy cares about people, and the people that work for him do too. There's a whole crew of ladies and gentlemen that work with Brian at performance therapy, and they want to see you improve, get better. Brian may even come out and hike with me. He says that every time I go hiking, but we'll see. He's also an ultra athlete too, so I'm not going to push him because I'm afraid he'll push me. he can run like the wind. He's over 60 and can still just fly, and just amazing what kind of athlete he is, but also what kind of a person and what kind of heart he has for people and rehabilitating them from injuries and different things. I've seen him because I sit in there so much with them working on me, and some of the techs, some of the other PT and all of them work with me too, and I watch, and all of them, they just really do a great job of ministering and taking care of others. And even had the pleasure to work for Brian and work for Lynn, who works there, and they hired me to take on their projects, and it was a pleasure to work with them, so I know them well. Just want to shout out to them, and if you can find somebody like that, if you've got an injury from hiking or you want to hike and you can't seem to get over something, I would say find somebody you trust as a physical therapist, and then do what they say. You know, it's hard. It's not easy. They push you to your limits, and I know not everybody's built like me, and you tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do some extra usually. But it helps, and it makes a difference. It helps you recover from injuries and builds you up stronger so you don't injure yourself again. But I've got terrible feet, terrible ankles. They have helped me more to be out here on the trail probably than any other thing. It's just going to see them and spending time doing what they say and working those joints, working these muscles, working, trying to build strength in my muscles to overcompensate for some of my deficiencies in my ankles. It's been good. I challenge you to find somebody like that too, wherever you are, and use them and tell them what you need. Tell them your goals. That's the thing I did with Brian. I told him what my goals were, and he got me there. So that was after I had rebuilt my ankle. When I had surgery and just totally rebuilt my ankle, and didn't think I was ever going to get to hike again. And look here. So, deer. I can still see them looking straight at me. I can't tell, but yep, see them. Took off running. Three. All right, guys. Just in case you're watching this and you're worried about far out, it only did it, for me, it only did it in the Smokies. And of course, it's kind of crucial in the Smokies. It's one of the stretches where you rely on it heavily, but it only did it then. As soon as I got past Newfound Gap, 10 or 15 miles, it quit. It straightened up. Everything since then has been right on the dot. I check it with my distance on my Garmin watch, and everything's right. So I don't know what was going on. It seems like it's a possibility it did it last time, but I don't think I know everybody that I've talked to, everybody, all hikers, it was happening to them. So apparently it was some kind of issue they were having. And it might have something to do with the elevation. I don't know what caused it, but it was weird. It was not, I was worried that the Iranians had shot down a satellite or something. Not really, but that thought did go through my mind. I wonder if one of the satellites is messed up. Not that they shot it down. I think we got them under control, probably. I'm here to a road. That's where I came from. This is where I'm going. Got to give me some more upsides. They can't. Gotta let you get your money's worth on these ascents. Oh, here we go up again. Let's see here. So here's a shelter in 3.4. Hot Springs is 6.6. Tanyard Gap is 12.5. Mount Katahdin 1,924.7. A heck of a long way. The water gamble. That's what I call it. It's a water gamble every day. You try to figure out, okay, how long am I gonna need to go? How long can I go before I need to get water? And because you don't want to carry water. Water weighs, this 1 liter bottle that I'm feeling is gonna weigh, when it's full, 2.2 pounds, over 2 pounds. So I don't want to carry that weight if I don't have to. So it's a gamble. How much energy am I going to exert? How hot is it going to be? How much am I going to sweat? How much electrolytes am I going to need? Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. It's definitely a gamble. Today I lost. I've gone 11, well, to here it was 11.25. And the elevation gain was 2640. And the time is 11:10. So I made really good time, but the last 3 miles, I should have got water at the last water source before this, but the last 3 miles I have been just dying for something to drink. And I wouldn't drink the last little bit just in case of emergency. That's all I have left. I wouldn't drink it unless I just had to have it. So, and then when I got here, I had looked to see where the next water source was, but I didn't stop long enough to pay attention. Well, it's off the trail a quarter mile, so I had to go down there and get water and bring it back up. I lost the gamble today. It's a good thing I'm not a gambling man, huh? The good thing is I only got just less than 4 miles, or right around 4 to go. I don't really know for sure. Oh, that's good. Whew, that's so good. So I will camel up here, what I call camel up here. I will drink just as much as I can drink. Well, I'll get all this water that I got in my bag and drink it and save about half a liter to pack with, because I'll be cameled up, so to speak. I'll have a lot of water in me then, and I know I only got around 4 miles to go, so I should be fine. But it was tough getting here. All right, finally getting to see the town again. Way down there. Let's see it. All right, you can finally start to see the town. I'm almost down there now. Is that the French Broad? Is that river? Is that what that is in Hot Springs? It flooded so bad. I may have to correct that. I think that's what it is, though. Everything's having to be rebuilt along the river after Helene. See the highway going there along Town's over here. Last time I got in those hot springs, I have time, I may try to figure out how to do that. It's just, man, that felt good last time. All right, down, coming into Hot Springs. There's the Carolina Mountain Club. I'll walk through town now, from what I remember. There's the information. Just coming off the mountain, coming right around behind somebody's house. Be a good spot for a hostel, wouldn't it? Oh. And across the street and then start walking down the sidewalk. Better cross in the crosswalk in case I get run over. But I remember these symbols. It's pretty cool on the sidewalk. This is the Smoky Mountain Diner, and it is good. I just had that meatloaf here, and it's right here on the sidewalk as you walk down. It's the first thing you come to in town, right by the Dollar General. You want to stop here, time it and get you something to eat good. So that's the Smoky Mountain Diner, and there's the Dollar General.